regulating human behavior is not as easy and simple as it sounds. Because by nature, human beings are very complex organisms. And by nature again, human beings are predisposed to doing certain things. We are not all the same. We don't have the same upbringing. We don't have the same culture. As a result, we are not all regulated by the same mechanism. But one thing is certain, if humanity will make progress, then it is very important and paramount to regulate our behavior. But the key question is, how do you regulate human behavior? That's the subject of our broadcast today. Once more, welcome to Jesse Song Plaza. It is an honor and privilege to have you connect with me today. Stay tuned and I'll be right back. Welcome back. Again, our topic for today is regulating human behavior. If human behavior is allowed to run wild, the consequences will be very disastrous. It is our duty to regulate behavior for the betterment of society and to advance the human race. But how do you regulate this behavior? Here today, I want to present 5 simple laws. Let's call them laws. Let's call them factors. Things that we can do, or perspectives, or framework through which we can regulate human behavior. Number 1, the law of reward. If you want to regulate human behavior, you need to dangle a reward to that behavior. Let's take an example. Athletes. When you dangle an Olympic gold medal, when I say dangle, what I mean is, if that is the reward, the person will regulate his behavior, his character. You go for training, you wake up in the morning, you regulate your diet. All of that is being energized by what I call the law of reward. So you regulate certain aspects of your behavior because you want to achieve a specific goal. You want to achieve a specific thing. You want a specific outcome. And by virtue of that, you can regulate certain behavior. It may be promotion at work because you aspire to be promoted to the rank of manager or director. There are certain aspects of your behavior you will regulate. You may be an impulsive person, but you've realized that that impulsive nature may hinder your promotion at work. Guess what? Because you seek the reward of promotion, you will regulate that impulsive nature. Behavior is regulated when reward is in sight. So the first law is the law of reward. It applies in every domain. In academics, it's the same thing. You don't sleep like others. You don't play like others. You have assignments to submit. You have casework to do. You have XYZ research to carry out. So you're regulating your behavior because of the reward that you see ahead of you. One of the ways of regulating human behavior is the law of reward. We don't need to emphasize on that because most people actually do understand that. You may be working hard because you want to purchase a property. That reward motivates you to work hard. Even when you're tired, you will still work hard because there is a reward you're thriving towards. The law of reward. At times where there is no reward in sight, people give up, people compromise, people fail to live up to their standards. But when the reward is in sight, it helps you to stick to the task until you get it done. The second law is a very interesting law. This particular one, a lot of people don't like it. But I do believe it is not possible to regulate human behavior without the application of the second law. I call it the law of consequences. It is not just through reward you can regulate human behavior. You can also regulate it through the fear of consequences. For example, when you are driving and you see a speeding camera, you slow down and make sure you go at exactly or below the speed limit. That behavior of slowing down your speed is being regulated by the fear of a consequence. When you violate that speed limit, you can receive a penalty. It can be a fine. It can be points on your license. So the fear of consequences is a good regulator of human behavior. When human beings do not fear consequences, they will persist in bad behavior. If you know that speaking rudely to your boss may make you lose your job, the fear of that consequence will make you to be polite in the office. If you know abusing clients may make you lose your job, the fear of that consequence is enough for you to regulate your behavior at your place of work. You go to the bank, you may see the cashier or the teller counting thousands of dollars. You may want the money, you may need the money, but because of the fact that if you step across that wall to take that money, you will end up in jail, the fear of that consequence will regulate your behavior. Human behavior is heavily regulated by the fear of consequence. Anytime you want to destroy the human race, take out the fear of consequence. Once the fear of consequence is gone, human behavior becomes like a wild animal. I love this scripture in Ecclesiastes. It says, when a crime is not punished quickly, people feel it's safe to do wrong. Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 11. When a crime is not punished quickly, people feel it's safe to do wrong. Again, the reason they do wrong is because they don't really see the consequence, or they haven't experienced the consequence, or they haven't seen other people who do wrong get the consequences. And I want to make this categorically clear. You may think that there's no consequence to bad behavior, but there is one extra law. I attach it under the law of consequence. It is called the law of sowing and reaping. Whatever a man soweth, that shall he reap. In the law of reward, if you sow good, you will reap good. In the law of consequences, if you sow evil, you will reap evil. This law is very powerful. And the reason a lot of people violate this law is for the same reason in Ecclesiastes 8 verse 11. Because punishment for evil is slow, the heart of man is set to continue to do evil. But the truth is, evil will always be punished. Bad behavior will always be punished. Even if the punishment is slow, at times the things that come slow are even more dangerous than the things that come quick. My point is, if you do not fear consequences, your behavior will go rampant, and that will be chaotic. Can you imagine in a city, the armed robbers don't fear the security forces, they don't fear the police, like you have in some crazy cities in the world? That's why crime is high. A lot of times, the fear or the absence of the fear of consequence is what makes crime to be very high. So that's the second law in regulating human behavior. The third law is a very simple one. It is what I call the law of duty and responsibility. What do I mean? If you are a dutiful person and you are a responsible person, that duty and responsibility, which is part of your value system, will regulate your behavior. There are things you may not feel like doing them, but because it is your duty to do them, you will do them. It regulates your behavior. In parenting, there are times you don't feel like doing things for your kids, but because it is the duty of a parent to do such things, it regulates your behavior. So you end up doing that particular thing. At your place of work, there are so many times you don't want to do something, you don't feel like doing something, but because it is your duty or your responsibility, then you do that thing. That is why it is very dangerous to deal with human beings who have no sense of duty or responsibility. It is not the feeling. It is not what you like or don't like. It is not how people make you feel. It is not about what makes you happy. It is about duty. It is about responsibility. We live in a world that wants freedom, but without responsibility. They just want to do things because they are free to do them. Freedom doesn't regulate human behavior. Responsibility regulates human behavior. Happiness doesn't regulate human behavior, but duty regulates human behavior. So when you step into any arena or any task or anything you want to do, one of the key questions you must ask yourself is, what is my responsibility in this particular thing? If you stick to that responsibility, if you stick to that duty, even if people don't compliment you, even if people don't appreciate you, You know it is your duty to do X, it is your duty to do Y. Just like the human heart or the human lungs. You may be a chain smoker. Of course, you know, if your lungs could speak, they are not happy about that because of the nicotine you're pumping down there. But your lungs have a duty. Your lungs have a responsibility, so they continue to function. Your heart may be suffering because of your lifestyle, but your heart has the responsibility to keep pumping the blood, so it keeps doing that. Human organs have a duty and a responsibility attached to their function. Even when we fail our human organs, they continue in that duty, in that responsibility. And it is very important that you and I understand that duty and responsibility is a powerful regulator of human behavior. Let us be people who are dependable, people for whom we can commit a task and know that they will do it, people who are dutiful. One profession that understands duty and responsibility is the military. The military is highly regulated and highly regimented. You know your exact duty, your exact responsibility. It doesn't matter how you feel. When an order comes down, it is executed. When an order comes down, you put your all, spirit, soul, and body into it. It is not about how you feel. Most professions are like that. In medicine, in law, in engineering, in IT, most things go on duty and responsibility. Unfortunately, we live in a generation that assumes that they can discard duty and responsibility and still succeed. You may be a parent. There's a duty and responsibility attached to parenthood. You may be a husband. There's a duty and responsibility attached to being a husband. You may be a wife. There's a duty and responsibility attached to being a wife. You may be a church member or a pastor or a leader or a CEO, an employer or an employee. There are duties and responsibilities. When you went for your job interview, they asked you questions based on duty and responsibility, not based on what makes you happy, not based on your opinion, not based on your perspective. When you start working, you will be assessed by your duty and responsibilities on your contract that you signed. If you look at that paper very well, you have the duty and responsibility of your position. You also have the responsibility of your employer, what the employer also has to do to make your job easy. So can you understand that human life, the workplace, the business place, everywhere you are is regulated by duty and responsibility. What is not your responsibility, you are not expected to do. In a football game, what you call in North America, soccer game, every player has a duty, every player has a responsibility. Duty and responsibility is a huge regulator of behavior. So one basic question you must always ask, wherever you find yourself, what is my duty in this place? What is my responsibility in this situation? Let that regulate your behavior. Otherwise, when people make you angry, you will abandon your duty. When people offend you, you will abandon your responsibility. When your spouse does what you don't like, you will abandon your responsibility. Even if no one else is doing his or her role, you do your own, because whatever a man soweth, that shall he reap. Let them sow rebellion, let them sow stubbornness, they will reap it. As for you, stick to your duty, stick to your responsibility, and allow it to regulate your character. Number 4, I'm going to give you 5. Number 4 is what I call the law of value. Your value system will regulate your behavior. This is a very, very, very powerful point. Your value system will regulate your behavior. I'll give you a few examples. If you value your health, it will regulate how you eat. If you value your health, it will regulate your discipline. You would know, I cannot just eat anything I want to eat, how I want to eat, when I want to eat. You would understand that it cannot be about you, but about your value system. When you value your value system, you would know, I need to do more exercise. And so even when you're tired, you will look for every way to walk. When you get to the office, rather than use the elevator or the lift, You can use the stairs. You're on the third floor. Use the staircase. It's part of your exercise. If you go home by bus, you can come off one bus stop to your house and walk for 10 minutes. What is regulating all that behavior? It is the law of value. You value your health. If you value human beings, there are certain things you will not do. If you value human beings, you will not help them and then turn behind and insult them. If you value human beings, you will count it a privilege that you help somebody and not necessarily a right. You'll be happy that you can be a blessing to someone else. What if they don't appreciate you? It will not stop you from being nice. Why? Because your value system is all about helping people. Let me take another example, and this is very interesting. Cleanliness and hygiene. If you value cleanliness, you will not throw your trash on the road. It will regulate your behavior. When you eat your bananas and there's no trash can or bin, you will put it in your car. When you get home, you will dispose it in the bin bag. What is regulating that behavior? Why would another person throw it out through the window and you kept it until you go home? Value for cleanliness. I call that the law of value. You value cleanliness. That's why when you come back home after a day's work, you still take your bath. You know why? You value cleanliness. You're tired, you want to eat, but you need to bathe. Why do you sacrifice to take your bath? Value system, the law of value. Your value system is regulating your behavior, so you will not sleep until you have taken your bath. I call that the law of value. You value health. You value human beings. You value cleanliness. You value the things of the kingdom. Value will regulate human behavior. If you don't value your relationship with God, then the things of the kingdom will not be able to regulate your behavior. Your resources, your energy, your time will always go in the direction of the things you value. The law of value is very powerful in regulating human behavior. Think about it. The things you value, you easily sacrifice for. Think about it. The things you value, you easily prioritize. Think about it. The things you value easily consume your time, your energy, and your resources. Think about it. The things you value easily energize you to go the extra mile. Why is all of that regulating your behavior? Because of your value system. For some people, the way to help them regulate their behavior is to improve their value system, is to reorient them, is to give them new perspective of value system. Because once you understand value system, then people don't need to motivate you that much. You would always know what to do and what not to do. Law number 5. I did tell you there are so many ways of regulating behavior, but just 5 laws. Number 5, the law of purpose. This is very, very important. Purpose is the reason why a thing exists. Purpose is the reason why you were created. Purpose is the reason why you do a lot of things. The law of purpose is that law which says, I must regulate my behavior in a way that it does not jeopardize my purpose. If you are in a relationship, what is your purpose in that relationship? You will therefore adjust your behavior to favor that purpose. The key thing about regulation through purpose is this, and I love this one, is that at times, you may do, let's say, the law of reward, promotion at work, right? So you regulate your character or your behavior because you aspire to be promoted to the rank of a manager or director. Because someone is observing, you have to give your annual report. So someone will go through it and then say, oh, this was good manager. Let's make her or him director. That's fine. Because people are observing. It is people that reward you. But when it comes to the law of purpose, with purpose, you don't necessarily regulate your behavior because someone is watching you. You regulate your behavior Because your purpose is one of the most important things in your life. And you do that because you do not want to jeopardize that purpose. Even if nobody is watching, the law of purpose can keep you on track. At times, even when nobody is watching, nobody will see you. Nobody knows you're going to do it. But because you know that if I do this thing, it is going to have a negative impact on my purpose, you refrain from doing it. Not because you fear a human being, but just because you respect your purpose and you know the kind of purpose I have, this type of lifestyle will not allow this purpose to be fulfilled. Because you cherish that purpose, you will not do anything that jeopardizes that purpose. Again, the law of purpose is very powerful because that is the reason why you were born. That is your reason for your existence. That is the reason why every other thing was created. And so if purpose cannot regulate your behavior, then the unfortunate thing is you get to a point in life where everything goes. You get to a point in life where you start living for your benefit and not for your purpose. And this is a huge difference. I see that everywhere. There are two ways you can live. You can live for benefit, you can live for purpose. And when you live for benefit, it means all your decisions are based on the things that are beneficial to you. But do you know certain things may be beneficial to you, but they are not in line with your purpose? Certain things may be beneficial to you, but they go against your health. Certain things may be beneficial to your appetite, but it destroys your mind. Certain things may be beneficial to your emotions, but destructive to your spirit. Don't live a life of benefit. Live a life of purpose. Because purpose is permanent. Benefits are temporal. Something can be beneficial today, but not beneficial tomorrow. But purpose is always beneficial because that is the reason, the raison d'etre of your life. In this broadcast, I have simplified 5 things that you can use to regulate your behavior. With these 5, you will accomplish far more than you think. Number 1, the law of reward. Let your reward regulate your behavior. Number 2, the law of consequence. Because you know the consequence of a thing, let it regulate your behavior. Number 3, the law of duty and responsibility. Stick to it. It will regulate your behavior. Number 4, the law of value. Value certain things and do not let society move you away from that value. And when it comes to value, it is very important. Let me say this as I conclude. And the 5th one is a lot of purpose, of course. Because of your purpose, there are certain things you can do. And because of your purpose, there are certain things you don't want to do that you have to do because it favors your purpose. On the other side, there are certain things you do you should stop doing because they are an obstacle to your purpose. So let me go back to value. One of the things that our society has done is that it has devalued, it has devalued good ethics, good morals, and sound judgment. As a result, people are beginning to live lives that have no quality. People are beginning to do things that they know they shouldn't do because society has glamorized it. There is a lifestyle you cannot live. Even if that's what the media is painting, even if that's what you see people on social media bragging about, there is a way you should not live as a woman. There is a way you should not live as a man. There is a type of lifestyle that you should not live as a woman. There is a type of lifestyle you should not live as a man. There is a type of lifestyle you should not practice as a wife or as a husband or as a parent. There is a type of lifestyle you cannot live as a church member. There is a type of lifestyle you should avoid as a pastor or as a company director or as a politician or a professional or a career man or woman. There is a type of lifestyle you shouldn't. But society has devalued everything. So everything goes. There's a type of way you should not dress because of value system. But of course, society has sexualized nakedness. So you can dress anyhow. It doesn't matter. It's your body. You do what you want to do with it. No. Value system regulates behavior. I don't want to buttress too much on that point because you understand what I'm talking about. Value system as a moderator of human behavior. But the point I'm trying to make is we must be careful with societal pressure. In most cases, the pressure of society is what crumbles our behavior and makes us to do things that are acceptable to society but conflicting with our values and morals. And while society may praise you and hail you and celebrate you, you are dying inside. While you are naked out and people are praising you, deep in you, you feel that emptiness. Let us be careful to understand that our value system must be upheld. And we must never allow the pressure of society, pressure of friends, pressure of whoever they are, to push us to violate certain commendable attributes and behaviors, certain attitudes. We must be careful that we don't become something that we are not just because we want to make people happy, or in a nutshell, we want to feel a part or to belong. Feeling a part or belonging is not an excuse for the wrong behavior. Above all, the law of consequences, the law of sowing and reaping. Whatever a man soweth, that shall he reap. If you do good, you will reap good. If you do evil, you will reap evil. I leave that with you. So may God bless you and help you and perfect all the good things that concern you. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next broadcast. Bye-bye.